Yeah, can I help you with anything else?
I've been sent by Carlia.
Carlia? Then she's finally found it. Do you have Gallus's journal?
Yes, but there's a problem.
Let me see it. Oh, this is just like Gallus. A dear friend, but always too clever for his own good. He's written all of the text in the Falmer language.
Can you translate it?
No. However, I know someone who might. The court wizard of Markarth, Calcelmo, may have the materials you need to get this journal translated. Word of warning. Calcelmo is a fierce guardian of his research. Getting the information won't be easy.
Why did Gallus transcribe his journal?
People in Tamriel that even recognize the language? I'm fairly certain he was planning some sort of a heist that involved a deep understanding of the Falmer language. Sadly, we never had the opportunity to speak about the details.
Where did you acquire the knowledge to use
Ironically,
it?
I pointed him in the same direction I pointed you, to Markarth and Calcelmo. I'm only hoping whatever means he used to learn the language will still be available to you. Calcelmo is stubborn as a mule. Be careful when you speak to him.
Welcome, dear viewers, to CouchWarrior TV on YouTube. I am the CouchWarrior, and you are watching Arcana, a Skyrim Let's Play. Well, when last we left off, we paid a visit to the college, the Mage College, specifically in Winterhold. We were led there by a vision and a memory from our lost past that told us we had been there previously and that that might be a good location to look in order to find our missing gear and possibly some answers about the continuing quest line we're pursuing for the Thieves Guild. So, we just paid a visit to Enthyr, and he is guiding us to Markarth, and as you know, we were already headed there anyway. We have completed a contract for Muri, who is located in Markarth, and we need to visit her to collect our payment. So, we are going to effectively complete these two tasks in one trip. And I am taking a route here that we have not taken previously with Fleet. We are going to go through the frozen tundra here. There is a narrow mountain pass not far from here, and while the way is dangerous, there are lots of predators along the way. If we do this right, we should be able to save ourselves some time. I'm going to get around these trolls. So I welcome you all back, brothers and sisters. We have a great episode in store. As you know, this is episode number 49 of Arcana. We are now well into Act 2, Chapter 6. And this is the episode where I am going to reveal the final hit list for episode 50, Night of Dark Blades. Those of you who have been following this Let's Play know that way back in Chapter 4, I offered to take on contracts for viewers. And so a number of you viewers, in fact very many of you, performed the Black Sacrament and requested that Fleet bump off NPCs from the game that were annoying to you or just required killing for some reason. Now, we went through that list early on. I have eliminated one of the targets already, but that's about it. There were a number of individuals on the list who were not eligible targets for one reason or another. In general, usually it was because they were associated with some sort of quest line that had not been completed yet, or were part of a quest line that I had not considered whether or not I wanted to start, and were not available for killing until you were in the midst of that quest. So they were immediately eliminated from the list. Not to say that we won't go back and get them, but there are some decisions to be made there regarding those quest chains. So I'm going to leave those targets open for now. So as a celebration of you viewers who have been supporting me relentlessly and giving me so much encouragement, I just wanted to fulfill some of these contracts as a show of appreciation and just to have some fun. And I can tell you that I have already recorded and put together much of the footage for episode 50. And I think it's going to be a blast. I really think you're going to enjoy it. It has turned into a bloodbath, a bloodbath of considerable quality and fun. So I think you'll really enjoy it. I tried to introduce some variety to the ways in which I eliminated these targets, and we will talk specifically about who these targets are a little bit later in the episode. But for now, we've got the mountain pass right ahead of us and a couple vampires on our trail right now, which I think are sorely in need of killing. So we'll try a little bit from horseback before I bother getting down. These shots are a bit tricky. I think I'm going to have to move up a little bit. Oh, they're coming my way. There's a hit. The issue, of course, from horseback is that the aiming is not exactly dead on. You have to aim a little bit below the target, and because I'm on horseback, I'm also not concealed, so I'm not getting a stealth bonus here, which would be really helpful about now. Now it looks like they're engaged in combat with somebody else. Oh, a Boethia cultist. So we got 3 targets now. We'll let them fight each other a little bit. Pick away at them. Wow, they're moving a lot. Yeah, that was a miss. Normally, I don't use a standard bow. I use a bound bow or a conjured bow, but on horseback it's not possible to do that. So, on horseback we stick with the standard bow.
I knew it. Just give up. You can't win. Ah!
Whoa.
I'll see you in pieces.
So it looks like we've eliminated one of the vampires, but we've still got the cultist left.
I'll gut you like a horser.
Oh, one vampire too. No, that vampire's done. That cultist is going to knock him off. So we just got to deal with this guy, and he is rabid. Oh, man, he keeps hitting the horse. And he's fast. I'm going at a full gallop here, and I can't seem to get enough distance to spin around and get a shot on him. Yeah, well. Dang, he is so fast. Now, for those of you who have been following the adventure, you know that there was a period in which I was using the Convenient Horses mod. I have since disabled that in an attempt to stabilize my game. There we go. One more. Come on. There you go. No mercy. All right. I did disable Convenient Horses to try and stabilize my build. I have not put it back in place yet. I hope to do that soon. But the horse that I was using with the Convenient Horses mod was a bit faster than the horse I'm on now. Right now we're using a standard kind of vanilla Skyrim horse. Let's see what kind of loot we can get off these guys. If nothing else, we have to go after the vampire dust. It's going to be crucial for making our invisibility potions, which we use quite often. So we will gather up that. Here's a little bit more gold. Can always use that. So, I've been thinking a little bit now that Well, I think more often than not, but I've been thinking specifically about Fleet and his thoughts on the direction of the Dark Brotherhood. In the last episode, he kind of went through his own sort of ritualistic process of donning the vestments of the Cimmerian, which is the title he's given himself. What's this? Cloak of the Crow. That sounds interesting. We're going to take that. Let's take a look at this. Looks pretty standard to me. Looks about the same as every other cloak I've had, so... But, apparently it once billowed from the shoulders of a great warrior. So, we're going to put it on. Keep going. So, essentially, Fleet is a man on a mission. When you think about it, he is kind of out here on his own right now. He is not... He's a man on a mission, but he doesn't have any followers, really. He doesn't have anybody else who kind of subscribes to his view of the world at this point. But one of his objectives is to remake the Dark Brotherhood by any means necessary. And by remake, what Fleet is thinking at this point is that the Dark Brotherhood has strayed from its storied and colorful history, which was really rooted in the worship of Sithis. And they have since fallen out of favor with Sithis. They've lost their connection to Sithis. The Night Mother is not speaking to anyone. Sithis apparently has no influence in the Brotherhood right now. And Fleet's assumption is that this is punishment for something that the Dark Brotherhood has done to sort of turn away from its responsibilities, its spiritual obligations to Sithis. Essentially, what the Dark Brotherhood is now is really a money-making enterprise. They accept contracts in a fairly traditional fashion. People are performing the Black Sacrament, but without any listener, it's not possible for the Dark Brotherhood to obtain those contracts by, any sort of magical or mystical means. So if the Dark Brotherhood is taking any contracts at all due to people performing the Black Sacrament, it has to be based on rumor or word of mouth. So somebody is performing the Black Sacrament and they keep their ears open, they work their network, they find out that somebody is doing this, and then they visit that person and engage in some sort of contract. If you remember, when the Aretino boy was performing the Black Sacrament, it's as if everybody in Skyrim knew he was doing it. I mean, he was way over in Windhelm performing the sacrament, and when we first heard about it, it was from an innkeeper, I think, way over in Riverwood or something. So, that is really the only way in which the Dark Brotherhood could have been acquiring contracts up to this point, having been really cut off from Sithis with no listener. So really the Dark Brotherhood, in Fleet's eyes, is all about making money at this point. Making money on contracts. There are no sort of... Whoa. Got a couple bandits here. Hold that thought, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go bandit hunting. Yeah, we're going to kind of loop around here. Hopefully the guards will take on these bandits long enough for us to dismount and get into a good firing position. Alright. Let's go stealth. We're going to head over this way. See if we can provide some support to these guards. The last thing I want to do is hit one of the guards, so try to be very careful here. Okay, where are you? Alright, somebody's over here. There he is. There's one shot. These guys might take him out before I do. Oh yeah, he's done. In general, I find these guards to be extremely tough. Some of the toughest customers you'll find in the game. So anyway, as I was saying, Fleet really considers the Dark Brotherhood right now to be a money-making enterprise. And as he sees it, there are two factions within the Dark Brotherhood at this point. There are those who have not been around long enough to really understand how the Dark Brotherhood was rooted in some sort of set of spiritual practices. And for those people, they've never really known anything other than the Dark Brotherhood being a business. His objective is really to turn the Dark Brotherhood back to what it used to be. And as part of that, he is going to have to evaluate the members of the Dark Brotherhood one at a time to determine where their loyalties lie and to try to determine whether or not they are open to some sort of conversion, whether or not it's possible for them to see the Dark Brotherhood as it was meant to be. And at this point, it's really a survival issue. If the Dark Brotherhood is to survive, they have to turn back to Sithis. There's no other way. There's really only one sanctuary left in all of Tamriel, and that is in Falkreath, and it's just a matter of time before they're attacked. So, as Fleet sees it, he's got to determine where their loyalties lie, who can be converted, who can't be converted. And he has to take steps to remove those who can't be converted. Fleet's Journal. I am driven forward as if pushed by a dark wind. My visions are becoming stronger by the day. It's as if I'm really there in that moment. Today I had a waking vision of a book. Or was it a map? No, I am quite sure it was a book. A book about a place. I feel this is a place I must go, but more than that, it is a secluded place from which the rebirth of the Dark Brotherhood will take place, and a vault within which the items of power shall be locked. The Semiliarch. I checked my bags. There was a book of my visions among the other tomes, and it contains a map. If what this map indicates is true, it would seem to suggest that the Dreadfather wishes me to ascend rather than retreat to the hidden caves and tunnels of the sanctuaries. Is the Dark Brotherhood meant to finally emerge from hiding? And if so, when? I look to the black void for guidance and am shown the sun. Okay, we are headed up here to Dragonreach. We're going to do a little enchanting. Continue on down the trail. I took an opportunity to sell off a few things. I made a couple of potions as well. Stopped and got a little something to eat.
Come to Dragon's Reach to discuss the ongoing hostilities, like...
Not really. Fleet doesn't really discuss things with people. Okay. First of all, what I'm looking to do here is see what I've got for enchanting potions. We're going to try to goose our enchanting a little bit. What I'm really looking to do here is replace the shrouded hood. If you remember, I had been wearing the Dark Brotherhood shrouded hood, which gives me a 20% archery bonus. And since removing that hood from my apparel,
the rest of the great
that has left me without that additional bonus. So I'd like to try to make it up if at all possible. So we are going to select our new Silencer's Hood. We're going to use an archery enchantment, our Grand Soul Gem. That's going to give us a 19%, so it's damn close to what we had before. It's about the best I can do at this point. So 1% off the bonus that we had before. Not bad, all things considered. So that puts us right back to where we left off. So now we have at work a necklace, a ring, our mask, and our hood, which will give us the 4-item bonus that we were looking for. So we do have a lot of junk here. Still got a lot more that I could sell. Wow, look at that. Our assassin is like an ink blot. Absolutely black as pitch. I have to tell you, viewers, I absolutely loved our first, well, actually, technically, our second assassin version of Fleet in the Black Mage armor. But this transition to the Cimmerian look, the Silencer's vestments, is really amazing. I really love it. So we'll probably be sporting this armor for some time to come, but I can assure you there will be future transitions as he evolves. That is one of the exciting things about playing this character and doing this Let's Play with you all, is the constant evolution of this character is part of what makes it so enjoyable. Well, we've got a little bit of road time here. So now seems like as good a time as any to discuss our targets for Night of the Dark Blades. So let's do that. As I'd mentioned previously, we have 6 targets. Each of these targets has been requested by a different person. One of these targets is specifically for Fleet. And I will start there because this target is going to be the first on our list. Now, if you remember, back in Chapter 1, I believe it was probably Episode 3, maybe Episode 4. I can't be certain. You'll have to go back and review. But Fleet was actually attacked by some thugs who were hired by a woman in Falkreath named Zarya. Zarya runs the alchemy shop there in Falkreath, and she got a little bit mad when Fleet pilfered some of the items from her shop, so she hired 3 thugs who came after Fleet, and Fleet, in a very cagey manner, led them into an ambush with some bandits, and they were all killed. After they were killed, we searched their bodies and found a contract on one of the thugs that was signed by Zarya, And so Zarya will be our first target. She is located in Falkreath. Our second target will be Nazim. I'm sure all of you know Nazim. He is a universally reviled character who lives in Whiterun. Nazim's death was requested by the Jessa channel, and if you have not visited Jessa's website or her YouTube channel, I highly encourage you to do that. Her YouTube handle is the Jessa channel. So that will take us to Whiterun. From Whiterun, we will be proceeding to Riften. And our second target will be Kirava. Kirava is the owner of the Bee and Barb Tavern in Riften. And her contract was requested by a longtime viewer and friend of the CouchWarrior, Wings of Light and Dark. Now, while we are there, we are going to take out a second target in Riften, and that target is Boli. Boli is a merchant who runs the fishery there in Riften, and his execution was requested by Josh Valenti. From there, we are going to target a Khajiit named Kajaro, who is part of a Khajiit caravan that travels between Riften and Dawnstar. If we're lucky, we may be able to catch him in Riften and just take care of all three right within close proximity to one another. Kajaro's execution was requested by Connie Has Dog Tags. These are all YouTube handles I'm using, by the way, YouTube usernames. And our final target is going to be Angranor, Once Honored. His death was requested by Frosty Frostification, and Angranor, if you are not familiar, is a vagrant who lives in the city of Windhelm. So we are going to be very well traveled, my friends. So get ready, put on your seatbelts. It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Well, here we are in a cave called Broken Fang. I am stopping off here. This place is filled with undead and a couple of vampires. Now, I just put one into that skeleton over there. That's going to draw my enemies down the far end of the chamber. Now, once they discover that the impact site is not where they want to be, they're going to come back to the source. And once she does that, I'm in a position to eliminate her. Stealth keeps us away from that skeleton, and we got one more left. We take him on the run. Simple as that. Now that's a little bit of misdirection and working the room there. If you haven't seen any of my videos, the Assassin Survival Guide, Death Mentor, I encourage you to check that out. I have an episode on both misdirection and working the room. That's pretty textbook assassin stuff that I just did there. Now the reason I'm stopping off here, it's a little bit off the beaten path. There was an intersection there where if we took a right earlier, we would have gone straight to Markarth. This cave is not far from that intersection, and I love to clear this place out, and I frequently use it as a stopping off point. So I'll come through here and I will make sure it stays cleared out. And then there are many, many upcoming quests for the Dark Brotherhood and the Thieves Guild, but in particular the Dark Brotherhood, that are going to take us on this path along the road that runs between Falkreath and Solitude, back and forth. And this spot is just about exactly halfway in between, and it makes a great stopping off point. Once you eliminate all the enemies in here, you have a lot of great things in here. We've got an enchanter's table, we've got an alchemy table, we've got storage, we've got beds that we can sleep in so we can get rest. There is a number of great things in here. Plus, there's a few interesting little items that will, over time, continually respawn in here. So it's a great place to just make a temporary home as you're passing through. So that is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to clear it out, and then we'll be stopping off here from time to time. All right, we've got a master vampire in here. I'm going to draw him off a little bit.
I was hoping to feed.
We're going to retreat into the darkness, try to draw him up the tunnel, and when we've got him in this narrow firing lane, we are going to eliminate him with extreme prejudice. Okay, let's put one down here. See if we can draw him to the sound. Here he comes. Okay, wait for him to turn his back. As easy as that. Very good. It's easy to say that it was easy, but in practice it's not, because if he had decided to come further up the tunnel, I probably would have been screwed. One of the things to remember about Fleet's build, even though he is really dominant as an assassin, if we get into a stand-up fight, we are in big trouble. We do not have a lot of health. We've invested almost all of our levels in magicka and stamina, so our health is very, very low at this point. And there are a lot of enemies in this game at master difficulty who can eliminate us with a single swing, including bandits with two-handed weapons. We can't really take more than one shot, so that makes playing the stealth game even more critical. So, one other important topic of conversation, since we're here and it is currently on our minds, is this whole topic of vampires. We are using the Dawn Guard DLC content here. It's loaded. We have encountered some of that content in the form of vampire raids. One in particular that was devastating for Fleet was the vampire raid in Whiterun, which I believe took place in Chapter 5. The question is going to come up and has come up in some of the conversations about what would Fleet choose. Would he go vampire or would he go Dawn Guard? Well, if we were purely power gamers, we would probably go the vampire route, simply because the advantage there, of course, are all the cool abilities that come with being a vampire. However, we are not power gamers, we are role players, and we make decisions for other reasons. So we have to actually view this idea of vampirism through the lens of Fleet's history in his background. One of the things that we have at play in making this decision are the stories of history, and specifically the history of vampires within the Dark Brotherhood and the Blood Scar. The Blood Scar were a group of vampires who were also Dark Brotherhood members who attempted to basically purge the Dark Brotherhood of anybody who wasn't a vampire and make the organization exclusively an organization of vampires. This, in Fleet's mind, would be a huge betrayal and a reason not to become a vampire. He is interested in becoming a leader within the Dark Brotherhood, and his concerns may be, one, that there are members of the Dark Brotherhood who would look with suspicion on anybody who was a vampire, and secondly, just this feeling he has in his gut that is really wrong-headed, and that somehow by becoming a vampire himself, he's ignoring the lessons of history. The other is a matter of pride, and whether or not being a vampire, having the abilities of the vampire, is somehow going to be viewed as a fast path to power. He doesn't want to be viewed as someone who is making a play for power by acquiring abilities due to vampirism that he could acquire on his own. In other words, he doesn't want the abilities of the vampire to be viewed as a crutch, right? He wants to be considered an accomplished and skilled assassin in his own right, not because he acquired powers through vampirism. So that would be another way to maybe look at that. Plus, we also have the whole practical matter of someone that he viewed as a friend in Whiterun who was brutally killed by vampires in the street. And they seem to be killing indiscriminately, and in his view, killing for the wrong reasons. If you remember, Fleet has a strict code which he follows, in that he believes when he kills, he's sending souls to Sithis, and he is killing in the service of the god that he holds dear and the god that he worships. What he has seen so far of vampires is indiscriminate killing for the purpose of either feeding or just killing as many people as possible. So I think he would also view this as kind of unsavory and undesirable. So at this point, right now anyways, I'm kind of leaning towards this idea of vampirism being a negative. But that may change over time. There is a lot to come. So we can't say that that is absolutely the truth, and that is how it will remain. So what happens next? I'm making a few items here, just kind of crap items using petty soul gems. We're acquiring some levels in enchanting, and then we'll sell these off. Maybe sell some of this stuff off in Markarth or someplace like that, but we need the levels in enchanting, and, you know, it adds a little bit of value to these items, even though we're just using petty soul gems. It might be worthwhile. So what comes next is we adventure on to Markarth, but prior to that, we have episode 50 coming up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you are too. And that, brothers and sisters, brings us to the end of another episode. I want to thank you all for taking the journey with me. And until next time, may all that you do be swift, quiet, and deadly. And to all Skyrim assassins, I salute you. Silence is our battle cry. You've been watching Aranis Arcana, a Skyrim Let's Play. If you liked this video, please rate, like, and subscribe. For more information on this and other CouchWarrior broadcasts, visit me on the web at www.couchwarrior.tv.